Let us discuss now band theory of solids. See, in Ohm's law topic we have done free electron theory. In which we studied that there are certain materials in which there are free electrons which are not bound to any atom. They are outside the atom, and when electric field is applied, these electrons start moving. We call such materials conductors. All metals are good conductors of electricity. So as per this theory, if there are free electrons, the material is conductor. If there are no free electrons, it is insulator. So according to it, the materials were classified into two types: conductors and insulators. But this theory failed to explain the threefold classification of materials on the basis of their conductivity. Now we have three types of materials: conductors, insulators, and also semiconductors. So with discovery of these materials, semiconductors, this theory was found insufficient to explain the behavior of solids on the basis of their conductivity. So now we have band theory of solids. It has its origin in quantum mechanics. So let's discuss it. Now what happens in case of an isolated atom? Let's start from here, and the discrete energy level which are in an isolated atoms. There are different energy levels of the electrons. This we have studied in Bohr's theory. At the center of the atom we have nucleus, and then there are different energy levels. Pauli's exclusion principle is there to determine the number of electrons, and there are different energy states. We know 1s, 2s, 2p, 3s, 3p, and so on. Number of electrons determined by Pauli's exclusion principle. No two electrons can have the same quantum state. Now let me take an example of silicon. Atomic number 14. So its electronic configuration will be 1s2, it's 2, 8 and 4. So 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, then 3s2 and 3p2. These are the different levels: 1s, 2s, 2p, 3s, 3p. 1s is state occupied by 2 electrons, 2s by 2 electrons, 2p by 6 electrons, 3s by 2 electrons, 2p by 2 electrons, 3p by 2 electrons. Now this state actually has the capacity to accommodate 6, but there are only 2 electrons here. So it means it is partially empty. This is partially empty. It has the capacity to accommodate 4 more electrons. This is individual atom. We know that this is the nucleus. I can draw it. There are 2 electrons, and then another one I have 8 electrons, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, and then another one we have 4 electrons. We can draw the energy level diagram also showing 2, 8 and 4. Now if there are n atoms, this we have taken for one atom, then n atoms means there are now 14 n electrons, because one atom has 14 electrons. So n atoms will have 14 n electrons. Now how will the different electrons fill up the energy states? So let me draw 3 columns: energy states, then total states, available and total states occupied. Here I will just name 1s level, 2s level, 2p, 3s and 3p. It can have 2n, 2n, 2p, 6n, 2n and 6n. I'm just making it n times. Okay, otherwise 1s can have 2 electrons, 2s can have 2 electrons, 2p can have 6 electrons, 3s can have 2 electrons, 3p can have 6 electrons. This is the total available states. But occupied state, when it comes to silicon, these are all filled, these are all filled, all filled, all filled, but here only 2n are filled. So it is partially empty. Now see what happens when we have a solid. In a solid, we don't have one atom, we have a number of atoms, and there is bonding, there is interaction between the electrons of different atoms. Due to this interaction between the different atoms, the energy of these states, it is no longer has a specific value. What happens actually? Energy of the states, that changes. So for example, if I take 2s, so all 2n states available for all the atoms in the solid will not have a specific value of energy. There is, due to interaction, there is modification in the energy levels, and some of these states get shifted up, some down. So a single state, single energy level which is there for an atom, actually it gets converted to a band when we are talking about solid. So due to interaction, when the atoms are coming closer to form a solid, there is interaction between the electrons of different atoms. There is sharing of electrons during the formation. So the electrons don't belong to any one particular atom actually, they are shared between the different atoms. So as a result, the single energy level, the concept which is applicable to isolated atoms, is no longer valid for the atoms when they are in the solid. Each level gets shifted in its energy and form bands. In each band we have a large number of discrete energy levels actually. So how can we draw this energy level diagram now? See what is the difference now. For an atom we have 1s, 2s, 2p, 3s, 3p. This is for single atom. These are the energy levels. Now when these atoms are forming a solid, so I have 1s band, then I have 2s band, then I have 2p band, 3s and 3p. So these are the energy levels for one atom, and these are the energy bands for the solid. For solid we have energy bands. For single atom we have energy levels, and it is due to the interaction between the electrons of different atoms. The energy. So each band consists of a large number of 1s states consist of for n atoms 2n levels, 2n levels, 6n levels, and so on. The difference or the broadening of the band, that depends on the position of the level. The inner one, where the electrons are tightly bound, the spreading is less. So the band, the width of the band is smaller. But as we move out, where the force of attraction by the nucleus is less, the broadening of the band is more. So as we move up, the width of each bond keeps on increasing. Okay. Each band is separated from the other band with a gap. We call it band gap. And band gap actually is the difference between the highest level of one band and the lowest level of the higher band. So this difference is band gap. Now, the names of these bands, two types of bands are there. We call them conduction band and valence band. Conduction band and valence band. Valence band are those bands which are completely filled, inner one. Conduction bands are the upper bands which are completely empty or partially filled. So two types of bands are there, conduction band, valence band. Valence band, the inner bands which are completely filled, and the upper band which are partially filled or completely empty are called conduction band. And when we will talk about conduction band or valence band in this topic, then I will not draw all these bands again and again. What we mean is the highest valence band and the lowest conduction band. Highest valence band and lowest conduction band. We will take these two bands because only those are important. See what is happening here. Each band is separated from the other one. If we give some energy to the solid, these electrons cannot go here because they are already filled. Same way, these cannot go here, this is also filled. The probability of this electrons being excited to the higher state is here only. 3p, there are empty energy states. So the electrons from here may go here or from here may go to the higher states. And whenever an electron is accepting energy, then only it starts moving. So conduction band are empty energy bands. Empty energy bands means if we give some energy and electron accepts it, it will accept if the higher states are empty. So it is free to move now. It is free to conduct. But these electrons, they cannot accept the energy because they are tightly bound and the upper band, next upper band is completely filled. So for conduction purpose, we will be taking the highest valence band and lowest conduction band only. Now, conduction will depend on the value of this. At room temperature, what is the energy available? KT, where K is Boltzmann constant and T is the temperature. And this value is quite small. So at room temperature, it's not possible that the electrons move to the higher state and starts moving. It's not possible. Anyway, now depending on this value of the band gap, we may have three types of solids. So I am drawing conduction band and valence band. we will have this type of band diagrams, and this is the energy gap or band gap. And this is empty and this has electrons. Now what will happen if we give energy? These electrons may take the energy and move to the conduction band, and here they are free for conduction because it is not completely filled. So when we apply the electric field, these electrons start moving and are responsible for conduction. So electrons need at least this much of energy to conduct. Now depending on the value of the band gap, the solids are of three types: conductors, semiconductors and insulators. In conductors, this band gap is either 0 or very small. Band gap may be 0, there may be overlapping also, that's also possible. So if conduction band and valence band overlap, then whenever we apply the electric field, the electrons will start moving. In case of insulators, this band gap has a value greater than 3 electron volt. And in diamond, I can take one particular example. This is 6 electron volts, the value of the band gap. So it's not possible at room temperature or even by applying field, it's not possible to give so much of energy, so that's why they don't conduct. In case of semiconductors, this band gap is small. So we have a conduction band, we have a valence band, electron need to go here, and this is of the order of 1 electron volt actually. So less than 3 electron volt for semiconductor. And taking a specific example of silicon, it is 1.1 electron volt. Ordinarily, at normal temperature, silicon also behave, or semiconductors also behave just like insulators. But there are special mechanisms by which we can increase the number of electrons in the conduction band. So conduction band, valence band, the band gap, this decides the nature of the solid with reference to its conductivity. If the band gap is very small, it may act as conductor. If the band gap is large, it is insulator. For silicon, the band gap is small, though ordinarily it will behave like an insulator, but there are some mechanisms to increase the conductivity. So that's all in this topic. Next time we will take up semiconductors behavior.